What is going on, everyone? Konnor Griffin. It's the Konnor Griffin show. We're just kind of living in the Konnor Griffin world, aren't we? Played his second AAA game. Went 2 for 3 with a run scored, RBI, 2 walks, a strikeout, and stolen base. Walked in the first inning. Had a single in the third inning. Stole second, and then scored on a Ronnie Simon single. He had both the hits. They weren't hit very hard. One of them was an infield hit, kind of to the third baseman, slow roller. So he hasn't been making a lot of solid contact so far. Certainly not for the hits yet, but he's been competitive in all of his at bats, which that's encouraging to see. But yeah, good start for Konnor Griffin. 2 games in. Of course, top prospect in the game. We won't know how long exactly the Pirates planning on keeping him down there. I think one thing to notice, one thing to keep track of, the obviously he qualifies for the PPI pick, and I think a lot of people were talking about wanting to make sure he's up in time to qualify for that. Just kind of like reaching out league wide and all that stuff. This might be a tough year for him to do that, especially since he's not starting. JJ Weatherhold off to a really good start. Sal Stewart hit a home run today, or was it Saturday when I'm recording? Nolan McLean, he's got to be a favorite. Even Bubba Chandler, he's got to be up there. So maybe this is a good opportunity to not really rush him and kind of just let him force his way onto the major league roster. Numbers obviously looking good. As he adjusts, we should start seeing him drive the ball more. But all in all, really good start. I don't think you can ask for too much more from his start. Another player on the team, not a prospect anymore, but he had himself quite a day. Dominic Fletcher, outfielder, 3 for 5, a home run, double, 2 RBIs. Made a couple of really strong defensive plays. He's a left-handed hitting outfield, which is kind of awkward with how the Pirates roster is set up because 2/3 of your starting outfield are left-handed. I'm not sure there's really a fit on the major league team with how it's currently constructed, but he was the guy that I thought had put some solid at bats together in spring training. I kind of feel like maybe in years prior he's the guy that probably makes the team, but it's probably a better sign that there's really no room for him. If you go all the way back to 2023, his first year in the bigs, had about 100 plate appearances, a 112 WRC plus, hit 301, 350, 444. That was all back with Arizona. So hasn't really done too much since then with it, but interesting outfielder, interesting depth guy. I guess if there's someone who I don't know, as far as like what is it, release clauses and stuff like that, if he gets a look elsewhere around the league. But certainly a guy that I feel like can't hurt if he's stashed down in AAA, and if you have to kind of break glass in case of emergency to kind of get someone up for some depth, especially if you want like a left-handed bat on there. I think he'd be a good option in that scenario. Another guy that's probably looking for an opportunity in the majors at some point. He did exercise his upward mobility clause during spring training. I guess apparently there are no takers with that, so he headed to Indianapolis. Mike Clevinger had a pretty good spring there. I feel like I think most people will agree that Clevinger had a better spring than someone like Jose Urquidy, who did make the major league team. I think a lot of that has to do with the, Urquidy was on the 40-man roster, so he kind of has like the edge there. Kind of like Ty goes to the runner. I think Ty obviously goes probably to the guy who's on the 40-man roster. We'll see if there's an opportunity that comes up for Clevinger, but I think at least stuff-wise, the stuff has certainly popped. The fastball especially. We know the Pirates like their outlier fastball characteristics, and his fastball graded out at a 108 on the Stuff Plus for TJ Stats. On Saturday night, all 4 pitches were a 102 or better. The sweeper was getting 17 inches of horizontal movement. He came out of the bullpen, which I guess maybe that doesn't rule out a chance for him to kind of start. I think maybe you get him in there to just kind of, because opening weekend, there's only 3 games. You can always use him early part of next week, middle of the week, whatever, and keep him stretched out a little bit more. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I certainly, if all things equal, probably would have gone with Clevinger in the back of the bullpen over Urquidy. This does allow for some more depth, and I think you do like the opportunity to keep as much pitching depth as possible early in the season. I think that's why I was kind of adamant that someone like Johan Ramirez kind of has the edge over the case, just because he had no options, and you probably don't want to risk losing an arm so early on. I think that's kind of the case with Urquidy. We'll see how long of a leash that maybe someone like Urquidy has. If he starts struggling early, do you make a quick move to someone like Clevinger? That way you don't risk losing him. So we'll see here, and I guess a little bit looking forward to Sunday's game. Antwone Kelly's getting a start. Pitcher I'm really high on. Fastball, upper 90s, touches 100. I remember going back to that Greensboro game last year, and there's a bunch of scouts in the stands, and then Josh Norris from Baseball America was there as well, and he had the radar gun, and the radar gun at the stadium wasn't working at the moment, and you could tell that Kelly was really zipping in there, and there's that kind of moment to where Josh kind of looked up and he was like, well, yeah, that one was 100, and I had seen Kelly a lot the previous year, and 100 really wasn't a thing, so that was really encouraging. We'll see how he looks. He got to pitch in the World Baseball Classic. Pirates could be relying on him to be a depth option this year, so it'd be really nice to see him kind of get off to a good start, get settled, get in, throw some strikes. I think the big key for him this year is going to be the slider, and the shape of the slider starting to be a little bit a lot sharper and tighter. I know I kind of I don't want to put too much expectations on him, but he always kind of reminded me of a Bubba Chandler light, especially after seeing the fastball come up. Fastball is really good. The changeup's really good. Just kind of want to see some work on the slider. So I think that'll be the biggest key for me, to watch him, to see how he does, and to see, and if that really comes along, that kind of just solidifies him as a legitimate starting pitching prospect. All right, well, we'll close down here, and we'll circle with the major league team. And not the most ideal start to the season. 0-2, took a lead in extra innings, wasn't able to hold it. Luis Robert, walk-off home run. I think the biggest statistic, the only numbers probably that matters in the end here was 17 and 2 for 18. As in 17 batters left on base, and then 2 for 18 runners in scoring position. I don't care who's in the lineup. I don't care who's not in the lineup. I think when you kind of do that you leave that many runners on base, and you blow that many opportunities, and it's just not a recipe for success. And they had a couple opportunities to close it out. They couldn't hold it, and I think what it really comes down to is you capitalize on a couple of these opportunities earlier in the game, and you're just not in that situation. So, speaking of that situation, Hunter Barco, probably you want someone different there, someone with more experience there. It's a long season, and he's out of the bullpen, so granted, it's probably coming to where he throws in one of those situations. I thought he pitched okay, all things given. He was able to work around a jam the first inning, and then the home run he allowed wasn't a bad pitch. Luis Robert went down there, it wasn't even in the strike zone, and he was able to dip down and just crank it for a home run. sometimes listening to him post game, kind of he said it good. You kind of just tip your hat and go about your day, kind of thing. So Pirates head into Sunday's game looking to avoid getting swept. Carmen Mlodzinski on the mound. That's its own headline on its own. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about whether or not he should get another opportunity as a starter. Things didn't go well for him last year, especially second and third time through. We'll see if that improves. That'll be key for him. He looked good. He I don't know if he looked good or great. I do know that he was the clear-cut guy that won the fifth starter job. And I think a lot of that you can layer that different ways as far as like how the others perform compared to him. But I do believe Carmen Mlodzinski was the winner of the quote-unquote fifth starter competition. So he'll get a run. We'll see how that goes. He's messed with the pitch mix, so we'll see how that goes during the regular season, and we'll go from there. And I think both games, the Indianapolis game and the Pirates game, 1:30 starts. So thanks for tuning in. As always, subscribe, Bucks on Deck Substack, daily content on the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. We are about, I think, probably like 2 weeks away until I'll be down in Greensboro. I'll be down there the first full week of the minor league regular season. Be on the lookout. North Shore 9. I'll be doing a weekly show with Jim Rosati, kind of just like spotlighting a specific prospect. We talked about Christian Curtis on Saturday. Actually had Christian Curtis on, so shout out to him for taking the time to do that. Headed on over. I'll post. I didn't get a chance to post the video in the previous rundown, so I'll do it on today's. Yep. Subscribe, like, all that stuff. Let me know if you guys want to hear anything else, do anything else, and have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys again Monday.